Welcome to the Black Hour. Tonight's story, The Night Nurse Who Never Clocked Out. If you've ever stayed overnight in a hospital, you know that strange silence that creeps in after visiting hours, when the machines hum softly and footsteps echo down empty halls. But what if one of those footsteps belonged to someone who never left? Stay with me. This story will make you think twice before answering a voice at 3:07 a.m. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, where are you listening from tonight? And if you love stories that keep you up just a little later than you planned, hit that like button, subscribe, and welcome to the Black Hour. Now, let's begin. The Night Nurse Who Never Clocked Out. You ever hear those stories about hospitals being haunted? Most people brush them off, right? Just creaks, flickering lights, the mind playing tricks after midnight. But this one happened to a man named Harold Tate. And if you'd met Harold before all this, you'd know he wasn't the type to imagine things. Harold was 63, retired and recovering from a minor heart surgery. He lived alone. His wife Marlene had passed 6 years earlier, and most of his days were quiet. Morning coffee, crossword puzzles, the occasional call from his daughter in Arizona. Nothing out of the ordinary. When he was admitted for that operation, everything went smooth. The surgery was short, the doctor said he'd heal fine, and within a few days he was walking again. But that's when it started, the nights. The first time Harold saw her, it was around 3 a.m. He'd been half asleep when he noticed movement by the door. A nurse, gray uniform, white shoes, a little outdated, like something out of an old photo. She was standing perfectly still, clipboard in hand, staring at his monitor. She smiled, kind of faint, almost gentle. "Just checking on you, Mr. Tate," she said. Her voice was soft, low, almost comforting. Then she turned and left before he could say anything back. Harold thought nothing of it. Maybe a night nurse doing her rounds. But in the morning, when he mentioned her to his day nurse, a young woman named April, she frowned. "We don't have a gray uniform," she said. "All of us wear blue scrubs. Maybe it was someone from another floor?" Harold shrugged. Maybe she was new. Maybe he dreamed it. He didn't press it. The next night, same time, 3:07 a.m. The door clicked open. Same woman, same calm look. "Just checking on you, Mr. Tate," she whispered again. He sat up a little this time. "I'm fine, thank you," he said. She smiled, just barely, then turned away. Only this time, Harold noticed something strange. Her shoes didn't make a sound on the tile. Not one. He leaned over and hit the call button, a little uneasy now. When the day nurse came in the next morning, he told her again, gray uniform, clipboard, no sound when she walked. April looked nervous this time. "Mr. Tate, there hasn't been anyone on this floor after midnight. We only staffed 2 nurses overnight, and both of them were on the east wing." "Maybe she's a floater," Harold said. "Maybe," she replied, but her tone said she didn't believe it. That night, Harold didn't sleep. He sat up, waiting. The clock on the wall glowed 3:05. then 3:06. At 3:07, the door opened. The same woman walked in. But this time she wasn't looking at his monitor. She was looking at him. "You shouldn't be awake," she said softly. "It makes it harder." "Harder for what?" he asked. His throat was dry. She blinked slowly, as if his question didn't make sense. Then she turned and left again, the door closing soundlessly behind her. By morning, Harold was convinced he was losing it. He even joked about it to the doctor during rounds, saying maybe they were giving him the wrong meds. But the doctor looked uneasy. "You said she wore gray?" he asked. Harold nodded. The doctor hesitated, then said, "That's odd. We haven't used gray uniforms in decades. Not since before the fire." "The fire?" Harold repeated. The doctor looked like he regretted bringing it up. Old part of the hospital burned down in the late 90s. It's sealed off now. Just storage and debris back there. Harold didn't ask more, but something about the way the doctor avoided his eyes stayed with him all day. The fourth night, Harold asked April to leave the hallway light on. She agreed, thinking it might help him sleep better. He didn't tell her why. 3:07 came. The door creaked open, this time slower, deliberate. The nurse stepped in, and for the first time he saw her face clearly under the light. She was young, maybe mid-30s, but her skin was pale, almost too pale. Her eyes, gray, almost the same color as her uniform. And around her neck, just under the collar, there was a faint red mark, like a burn. Harold's pulse monitor started to beep faster. She smiled again. "Just checking on you, Mr. Tate." "What's your name?" he asked quickly. She hesitated. "I used to work here," she said softly. "A long time ago." And then she was gone. In the morning, Harold told April again. This time, April didn't smile it off. She glanced around, lowered her voice, and said, "You're not the first patient who's mentioned her." Harold froze. "What do you mean?" "There's a story. Nurses talk about it sometimes. A woman named Clara Hayes, night nurse, worked in this hospital back in the 90s. There was a fire in the old wing. She was trapped when it spread. People say she still does her rounds." Harold didn't believe in ghosts. Not really. But the look on April's face, she wasn't joking. And that night, when he woke again at 3:07, she was standing even closer. "You shouldn't be here anymore," she whispered. Her tone had changed. No warmth this time, just warning. "I'm recovering," he said. "I'm being discharged next week." She tilted her head, that same soft motion. "No one leaves early, Mr. Tate. Not until the chart says so." And then, before his eyes, she placed the clipboard on the counter and vanished. Not walked out, not faded, just gone. When April came in that morning, she found the clipboard. It was old, yellowed paper, cracked edges, rusted clip. The top page had a date, March 3rd, 1998. The name on the top was Clara Hayes. The doctor took it away, saying it must have been a prank. But Harold could tell no one believed that. Everyone was tense now, avoiding the room at night. And Harold, even though he tried to stay calm, started counting down the nights until he could leave. 2 days before discharge, something happened. He woke up sweating, the room freezing cold. The monitors flickered, the air thick with static. The clock said 3:07. But this time she wasn't by the door. She was standing beside his bed. Her face was pale, almost gray in the dim light. "Mr. Tate," she whispered, "I stayed too long. You need to go before they make you stay too." He didn't understand. "Who? The hospital?" She didn't answer. Instead, she placed her cold hand over his heart monitor. "Don't listen if they call your name after dark." And then she was gone again. The next morning, Harold tried to tell the doctor, but his discharge papers had been delayed. Administrative issue, they said. He had to stay 2 more nights. He argued, but no one seemed to hear him properly. The doctor avoided eye contact. April wasn't on shift. Something felt off. That night, 3:07, he heard voices in the hall. Whispering. Soft, slow, like someone reading names off a list. He tried to get up, but the 4 tugged at his arm. He listened harder. They were saying names. His was next. Harold Tate. It came from right outside the door. The whisper was calm, polite, familiar. The nurse's voice. He stayed perfectly still, pretending to sleep. The door handle turned. The room flooded with pale light, and for a moment he thought he saw other figures behind her, shadows in old uniforms, standing in a line, holding clipboards. Then the light flickered, and they were gone. When April came back the next morning, she found Harold sitting upright, eyes wide open. He hadn't slept. He told her everything, every word, every whisper. She looked pale. "I'm moving you to another floor," she said quietly. "Just for tonight." They transferred him up to the newer wing. Fresh paint, bright lights, no flickering bulbs. The nurses laughed, talked. The place felt normal again. But that night at 3:07, Harold's new roommate woke up to a sound, a faint tap on the door. Then a voice, soft as a breeze. "Just checking on you." Weeks later, after Harold finally went home, he couldn't sleep through the night anymore. He'd wake up and glance at the clock, always 3:07. He told himself it was anxiety, habit. But one night, while making tea, he noticed something odd. On the kitchen counter sat a small white badge. A hospital ID. The photo was faded, the name barely visible. But under the hospital logo, it read, "Clara Hayes, Night Nurse." And right under it, in small print, the expiration date, March 3rd, 1998. The badge was cold to the touch. And from somewhere in the quiet house, the phone rang once, then stopped. A few months later, Harold's daughter came to visit. She found the house neat, quiet, just like always. Only thing was, when she went to dust his nightstand, she noticed a clipboard tucked behind the lamp. Same yellow paper, same date. And on the top line, under patient name, someone had written, Harold Tate. They say hospitals never really sleep. The lights may dim, the halls may quiet down, but something always moves after midnight. Someone finishing their rounds, someone checking charts that no longer exist. And if you ever find yourself awake at 3:07 a.m. in a hospital, and you hear soft footsteps that make no sound, don't call out. Don't ask for her name. Because if she answers, she'll have to add you to her list. After all, the night nurse never clocked out. If you made it this far, you're braver than most. Not everyone likes to linger in the quiet halls of the unknown. So tell me, have you ever seen something in a hospital that didn't feel quite human? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed tonight's story, give it a like. It helps more people find the Black Hour YouTube channel. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because next week, the lights go out in another story that might just hit a little too close to home. Sleep well if you can.